back. Unless we can address these core issues, the long-term results as far as the planet Earth is concerned is not going to come. On the other hand, look at the natural systems. All are cyclic. If you look at the water cycle, if you look at the oxygen, if we have to design a water system for our own flats, we keep the tank at the top, and the nature has done the same. At the Himalayas, you have the ice, and then it, comes back. Everywhere there is a symbiotic relationship in the nature. Look at the material world, plant world, animal world order. Human beings also wants to live in symbiotic relations. That is their desire. But the way they are living, with the kind of thought processes they have, the kind of concepts we have for growth, success, development, we have messed up the things actually. Look at the cyclic systems. The plant world is always coexisting with the physical matter world is coexisting with plant and with the animal world. But if you look at the human being, it looks like it's a villain that has entered on the planet, and the irony is that we are the most evolved, entity on this planet. And normally on the evolution cycle, the most evolved comes at the later stage. The way we are living, we have messed up with things. So we have to rethink. And the whole problem of all kind of pollution is the human being. And finally, it is the polluted mind, which is what is resulting into the pollution in the universe, on this planet. Another very important thing, which we have to look at, why pollution? I mean, if I ask you, if we have to grow, do we necessarily need to do some kind of pollution or not? What do you think? If we have to grow, mostly when I ask this question, people say some kind of pollution is required. If we have to grow, we can minimize it, reduce it, but something is to be done. Something will be there. Now look at again, if this is the planet Earth, unhappiness, dissatisfaction, distress, is coming from the family, the relationships. But there is no focus. No university is talking about relationship. We don't know how to talk about relationships. And what is the meaning of relationship? What is the purpose of life? And this is good that this university is probably one of the first university, Atma University, where we are talking about these core issues. What is the fundamentally, why are we on this planet? What is the purpose of human being? What is the role of family? What is the meaning of society? And how to really sustain and coexistence with this planet Earth? So what is the way out? So one in the most important way out is education. And we must have to reconstruct our whole education system from UG to PG. That is, I am talking about the content part. However, education does not happen just by content, because it's very much important what the conduct of the teacher. So if I'm talking of certain values and the teacher does not have those values, it's not going to work. Similarly, it's not only teachers and parents. You need social culture to do it. I'll just give you one example. Look at the laws of traffic. There are same laws taught everywhere, whether it is India, Singapore, Europe, USA, because laws are very simple. What are the laws? You cross only on green light, stop at red light, walk through zebra crossings, follow the speed limits, everything is taught. When someone in India takes his kid and passes the red light, the kid tells his father, Dad, what are you doing? This is red light. And even if the dad is stopping, others are passing through. Okay? So what I'm saying is the culture will come, when not only will we teach in the class, which is important, of course, to give the basic concepts, but society is living by those rules. And in Singapore, if the dad is stopped on the red light in the midnight when there's no traffic, and kid is saying, Dad, there's no traffic, why are you stopping? And then dad says, no, because it's red light. And the others are also coming, he sees that no, everyone follows it. So education is very important, but along with that, we need to have a role model shift. Because the role models are such, look at everywhere. The recent event which has happened at Ram Mandir, who are the role models? Actor, actresses. What are we communicating? Or the entrepreneurs. So, very funny thing now I see. When we say a new startup, you consider a new startup successful when it becomes unicorn. How many startups can become unicorn? Is it sustainable? No. Then how to define that? A startup which creates job or creates entrepreneurs, thousands more, that is the unicorn. So we have to really shift our role models. Otherwise it's not going to work. We have to shift on meaning of success. Who is successful? Who is, the one who is more evolved? The one who can bring others up to his own stage. So we have to redefine our parameters. So we have to redefine development. Long-term structural changes will be required in governance as well. It's not going to be the economic model. The way we are saying profit is the only motive, that's not going to work. I personally know most of the families, those who are highly successful entrepreneurs, their family life is totally destroyed. Is it really success in life? So where is the balance? So, of course, here I am only raising questions and leaving you with this thought. Good ray of light is, of course, we have been teaching here and been collaborating with professors, and this university is doing great work. A small initiative which we did in Delhi, if you might have heard, most of you, happiness curriculum. We are the backbone behind that. We are working with other governments in Chhattisgarh, or in Mumbai we did certain projects in Maharashtra government. So I am sure people are awakening to it, and you can always go on YouTube, type Jeevan Vidya, and you will be able to get all those videos, our material on that. And we all do this free of cost. We feel good things in life are free of cost, like air and water, the knowledge which is basically required for the purpose of able to live in harmony. That skill part is different, but the knowledge has to be free of cost. Thank you so much. Thank you.
With one single line, that Newton's third law, action and reaction are equal and opposite. So if we take care of nature, nature will take care of us. Now I request Dr. Divyang Vyas to say a brief about the today's session.
Thank you, and it's indeed an honor to be sharing the dais in this plenary session with the experts, people, almost everyone beyond the experience that I have, and also the audience. What I would be sharing in next couple of slides would be an sharing of the humble efforts that we are making at this university in terms of understanding coexistence, collaboration, and sustainability, and some initiatives that, considering it as our responsibility, individuals' responsibility, organizations' responsibility in promoting these concepts. So in the slides I would try to give some perspective about our understanding, and when I say our understanding, let me put a disclaimer here that the ideas which this university have would be more beyond the limitation of my understanding. So I would be falling short in explaining the things, is it so? Yeah. So when we talk about sustainability, we find that sustainability is talked in a number of ways around, whether we talk in terms of environment, ecology, fragility, economics, and we had talked about this. The way in which we understand sustainability here is that sustainability is basically the point of intersection of three major aspects we call environment, economics, and the social arena. When I talk about social arena, I'm talking about the inequalities or the social injustice which remains. So sustainability primarily sits in the center of this. And what sits in the center of sustainability? What sits in the center of sustainability are people. It is we, the people, the humans, at the center of sustainability. Why? Because when we are talking about the need of sustainability, or we are talking about the problems related with sustainability, if we see, people are the cause, and positively speaking, people are the solution. So till the time we don't address this aspect, it is difficult to address the concept of sustainability. We understand, and as I join in what has been told by earlier speakers, that the world is moving with an exponential growth in terms of technology and economy. And at the same time, we are facing serious problems in terms of peace, prosperity, equality, and harmony. Harmony in terms of relations, harmony in terms of with nature. Right? So what has gone wrong in the growth model that we had been following since last 2 to 3 centuries? And the question to ask is, do we have an alternate model of growth which ensures peace, prosperity, equality, and harmony? So as per our understanding here, we feel that talking about sustainability or sustainability primarily requires a shift from a culture that focuses on externally designed quality indicators to the one which is more internal, celebrating internal excellence, celebrating internal qualities. And this shift, till the time it does not come in people, it is difficult that we would be able to positively address and comprehensively address the concept of sustainability. And as what has been said by Louis Freud, that if we want to address this, we need a shift, we need a transformation to the higher level of consciousness. Again, higher level of consciousness in people. People are at center when we talk about sustainability. We would have to be more inwardly looking. We would have to be more, in Eastern terms, spiritual in nature. And in context with coexistence and collaboration, my understanding simply means, or simply states, that coexistence and collaboration are basically inherent to sustainability. Or if I put it in another way, then if we have coexistence and collaboration, it implies sustainability. So for me, both are the same part or two parts of the same coin. So the whole idea which we believe at this university and towards which we try to work is that we need to bring a transformation to a higher level of consciousness. And if we want to do this, the important part is we would have to understand humans, and humans would have to understand themselves. Because people are at the center. Whatever has been done has been outside the human. Our education system also does not. There are efforts, I would say I would not say there are not efforts to understand humans, but the efforts have missed the integrated approach, right? And when we talk about understanding, then it can fundamentally be done through education. And this is what my earlier speaker, Ajay Bhaiya, also mentioned, that education is something which has to play a big role in this. If we talk about education, and if we look at the conventional model of education, then we feel that the conventional model of education is not giving a holistic picture. It is more polarized. It is addressing few aspects, and it is addressing those aspects in a fantastic way, resulting into great professionals, great development. But if we talk in terms of great person, then probably that part has been missed in this conventional model. Again, our education is fragmented, segmented. We do have subjects on ethics, we do have subjects on morality, but then we don't integrate it when I am learning thermodynamics or when I am learning manufacturing or production. Right. So, education has addressed the things, no doubt, but in a fragmented way. We need an integrated approach. And this integrated approach primarily leads to transformative education. Principally, if we particularly see the scriptures, Indian scriptures, education fundamentally has to be transformative. Our literature says, Sa vidya ya vimukte, the knowledge is one which liberates. We are told, or we have learned, we have grown learning stories of Shwetketu and Rishi Uddalak, what education primarily means. So education fundamentally has to be transformative. So what we need is to rediscover and reinstate the very purpose of education. And with this background, I would try to discuss some of the initiatives which we have tried at our university, and we are putting in humble efforts towards this. When we start with education, when we start with a program, we start with graduate attributes, what we expect from a student. And these are typical 12 graduate attributes. And when I say our system is polarized, you would agree with me that those are in different colors, are focused more compared to others. This is the fragmentation. In light of Madhyastha Darshan, propounded by Sri A. Nagaraj, and based on which we try to practice things here, we try to identify graduate attributes through the literature in light of value-based education. And this primarily talks about 5 attributes that we need to cultivate in a student through education. The first being the trust in oneself. And I will try to map it with what SDGs also says, because truth remains the truth, whatever language you use. Right? So trust in oneself basically is based on the clarity of thoughts about what a human being is, what is its interconnectedness, coexistence with the nature. Understanding the purpose of being a human and way to fulfill it. And this comes through the process of continuous observation, evaluation, and improvement. The second attribute that we expect is balanced and integrated personality. Right? This appropriate and consistent human conduct, behavior part is something which we are lacking. We need to have our conduct which is in tune, in line, and appropriate. Self-reliance in occupation. We cannot ignore economy. We cannot ignore the feeling or the desire of a human to become prosperous. But then we need to understand that what is the right needs and what is the right utilization. The fourth one is the social. One has to be social in behavior. One has to understand that I cannot live in silos. I live with humans. I live with nature. And I need to have the feeling of global citizen. And the last, respect for qualities and values. This talks about equality. This talks about removing the social discriminations that we have. A person is identified or recognized based on the inner merit or the quality that we have. So keeping these 5 attributes in mind, we try to design our various activities. And we try to propose this in terms of our model for transformative academics. We see that education as a whole, the holistic education, should primarily address these 3 aspects in a learner. The first being the Vyavasaya part. It means that the capability of livelihood. One, education should be substantial enough to develop in an individual the capability to earn the livelihood, to bring the prosperity in the family. And this comes through knowledge, skills, or development of aptitude. Primarily the cognitive part on which the current conventional education system primarily focuses on. But the second part, which is equally important, is developing the capability in an individual to work and live with others. Right? It may be at the workplace, it may be with the family, it may be with the environment. And the third part, which comes from our traditional understanding, that we as a people are not body. We are Jivan, we are soul. And hence, during this journey, I need to do something which evolves me as a human being. So this 3 is something which we see as a picture of holistic education. And based on this, we have different models, we have different activities. Primarily speaking, a conventional education model starts with head, hand and heart. We say we start with heart, hand and head. This is the paradigm. Nothing is new, nothing is unique. It's a different way of looking at the things. So with this brief sharing of what ideas we try to nurture with all limitations that we have at this university, and try to bring it in terms of small or big practices, I have shared with you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm obliged to this. Thank you very much.
Now I invite Dr. Radha Sarma to say a few words.
Congratulations, Atmi University, for organizing a conference on such a topical subject. It's indeed a privilege to get this opportunity to share my thoughts and ideas with you on coexistence, collaboration for a sustainable planet. Dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to greet you all in the Indian tradition, which is Namaste, which implies that the divinity in me bows to the divinity in you. This is the basis of coexistence. In fact, coexistence in the form of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam has been a part of Indian ethos for innumerable years and centuries. And India has proved in word and deeds, and we have all witnessed that during the COVID-19 era, India came forward and provided vaccines to the countries in many parts of the world. Not only that, we often find India in the forefront in providing support and aids to countries during calamities, natural disasters, other complex situations when people have to be pulled out of some territory. So this is part of our DNA. I've been working in the field of CSR, responsible management, spirituality, and sustainability over the past 2 decades. And based on my interest in this field, I've been engaged in teaching, research, advocacy, publications at national and international levels. So within the given time, and due to time constraints, I would like to put together my thoughts in 4 broad points, and it will be in macro to micro approach. Being the last speaker has the advantage that a lot has already been said, and I compliment my other co-panelists who have touched upon very pertinent points relating to the topic of the day. So when we talk about sustainability, we are all management scholars, students, or educators. We talk about leadership. And leadership is a subject which has been researched for more than a century. I myself have been teaching this subject in different business schools, adopting, explaining, describing different models. But the model which is most relevant in the current scenario is that of sustainable leadership, which is very different from the earlier styles of leadership. That is not to say that those styles are not important, but this style has got its own role. We have all seen that leadership plays a very important role in the achievement of organizational goals, which emanate from the vision and mission. And obviously, what the vision or mission is, whether it's economic or ecological, that of course would depend on the leadership that is there in the organization. So the conceptualization of leadership in the context of sustainability, which I have researched on and also published on, would require intersection of these 3 parameters: the values for the society, economy, and stakeholders, the attitude towards society, economy, and stakeholders, and behavior towards, because you have to walk the talk. You cannot just have it on the website in the form of policies, but it has to be translated into actions. And then this is moderated by purpose which the leader has. It could be a sense of calling, it could be a transcendental interest, and in the model that I have developed, I find that, and this is based on real leaders who have got sustained leadership in the field of corporate world and also in political field and social field. And I find that when it is moderated by these variables, then it leads to organizational outcomes. Organizational outcomes depending on what the organization aims at and what the organizational goals are. So how does leadership evolve? As I said, at the core of this are the values, which are extremely important, and then our chairman of the session talked about competencies. I work a lot in the field of competencies, and I work with some of the pioneers in this field, and also offer a course on competencies at my institute. So the core competencies, and then there are peripheral competencies. Core competencies play a very important role in the field of sustainable leadership. So if the leader has these core competencies which intersect the interest of ecology, society with purpose, then organizational outcomes will be achieved. And it has been proved. It has been published in an impact factor journal as well after peer review. Now the second part of this session is about technology. We cannot do without technology in this digital era. And if we see the evolution of technology, we find it has traversed a long way. It started with digitization, which was converting analog data into digital data. Then it became a facilitator for achieving or facilitating business functions, efficiency, improving efficiency and productivity. Then it became a disruptor in the form of digital transformation. So digitization, digitalization, digital transformation. And when it came to the field of digital transformation, we found a lot of strategic changes being made by the organizations adopting the latest technologies for strategic changes with certain kind of impact, which could be societal impact, which could be business impacts, and so on and so forth. And now they are trying to accelerate the pace of technology with all the things that we have been hearing about for the past 2 days, whether it is blockchain, AI, IoT, whatever we are talking about. And if all that is there, technology is going to be there. We cannot do about it. Technology has both positives and also they have got the negatives. It can be boon or bane depending on the intent of the user. So we are all aware technology improves efficiency. It's good for supply chain. It enhances customer experience. It enhances productivity. But it also leads to a couple of other challenges. And this is going to be the future of technology. World Economic Forum 2023 has done a survey of 27 sectors in 45 geographies, trying to find out what are the skill requirements during 2023 and 2027. And what they have found is that the climate change and sustainability specialists would be required in large numbers. Cybersecurity experts will be needed. But the routine administrative jobs will be replaced by AI or other technologies. Adoption of big data, cloud computing, and AI are going to be the new trends, and analytical thinking, creative thinking, these are going to emerge as the most sought after skills. So taking the presentation forward, as I mentioned, the people in the organization, the different departments, they all will have to learn the technology skills, whether it is the finance professional or whether it is the marketing professional. Everywhere they have to look for finance people have to look for data which relates to the measurement and progress. And marketing people, they have to look at the brand and how particular processes repositioning their brand using the technology. CHRO have to be engaged in skilling, upskilling their people. And chief operation officers will have a greater responsibility of reducing carbon footprints and reducing these in the supply chain. So now, as I mentioned earlier, technology can be a boon or bane, and therefore we need to sensitize academia to the challenges that we lie ahead, because academia provides human capital to the industry. And we have a lot of responsibility on our shoulders. As an academic in the field of management for the past 4 decades plus, I've been trying to find an answer, and research happens to be my passion. So I looked at various models, paradigms, and I'll be sharing some of these here. So, as I mentioned, that the organizations, they have people, profit with a purpose, and planet, they have to have that concern, and the academia has to prepare people for the industry who will have impact on the society. So the collaboration between academia and industry is extremely important, and these two need to align with each other, otherwise we'll be at a distance or with a gap, and therefore then academia will prepare people, the human capital, which will not fit the bill in the present context. Now, what is happening? It's not only the academia and industry who have a choice, but they are regulators as well. And sustainability reporting has become mandatory as per the latest guidelines from SEBI, and therefore ESG has become an important subject for business schools. And the school that I'm teaching now, and the earlier institution as well at MDI Gurgaon, I had introduced a course on sustainability. And this course is a core course. And not only that I have introduced a course, a standalone, no, I have embedded, as Dean Research and Industry Academia linkages, I have embedded sustainability in all the courses, in all the specializations of management education. And it's not easy. I can tell you, many of you are faculty here, it's very difficult to convince your colleagues from another department that they need to introduce something which you think is important or the society feels is important, because you have your own domain concerns and you would like to introduce new concepts in your own specific domain rather than do something which they think social, etc. is superfluous, or is good to hear, is good to have, but not necessary to have. So this is what I feel has been. And how do we do that? In order to do that, you have to have sustainability mindset. So what is mindset? Mindset is an attitude we navigate our life with. And the kind of mindset that we have had in our B schools or in our society has been growth mindset. So there are two kinds, psychologists call two kinds of mindsets, the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. Fixed mindset is not good, but growth mindset is good, which requires you to be technically and functionally competent for being successful as an individual or as an organization. But the growth mindset needs to have underpinnings of ecological, environmental, and societal underpinnings or concerns. And with that in view, as I said that I have embedded sustainability in the entire curriculum of PGDBM at our institute, and we have adopted a three-pronged approach. This is a model which I developed, which is incorporating the national education policy, the tenets of the national education policy, the PRME principles. I have been associated with PRME for a very long time, for more than a decade and a half, and have not only been associated, I have developed a model which I'll share, which I presented in Asia PRME Forum, Global PRME Forum. It has been accepted, it has been published, and PRME book collection as well. And so PRME principles are there. In fact, one has been added recently with the change that they have had. And then stakeholders. So how does it look like? So the PRME, the NEP, the tenets of NEP which have been incorporated are accessibility, equality, and and stakeholders, all the stakeholders that we cater to. And this is the model that I was talking about, which incorporates 6 principles of PRME. And it is based on competencies. And there are a cluster of competencies which I have not presented here in the interest of time. So there are a set of competencies, cognitive competencies, affective competencies, moral competencies, and behavioral competencies. And these form the foundation of this model for sustainable development. And as I mentioned, that we have embedded all this in our curriculum: cognitive competencies relating to sustainability, affective competencies which require different kind of methodology. We do that. Moral competencies which relates to integrity, honesty, transparency, and so on. And then the behavioral competencies, that your action, it has to be integrated in that. And if this is the foundation for building responsible management education, then it will lead to responsible and sustainable mindset, which will lead to sustainable development. And this model has been empirically tested not only in India and Indian leading B schools, but also in European B schools. So it has worked and it has been published. So some of the work that I have done, this is a book on sustainable development, which has got foreword by the former Global Head of PRME, Metamorphosing, and that has been endorsed by her, and foreword is by Edward Richard Mann. So he is the pioneer of stakeholder theory. And this is another book, and there are a couple of books that I have. So this is also important. I consider it to be important because when we talk about sustainability, we always talk about environment. We ignore the human aspect, and the focus of this book has been, all these books have got global contributions. There are scholars, experts from different countries who have contributed. Thank you for your time and patience, and thank you, Atmi University, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Radha Sharma, putting the different model for sustainability in society. Now I request our chairperson to conclude the session.
Before then, we can ask any questions.
Okay. Now it is a time of asking the question. We are running short of time. At least 2 questions anybody can ask about this. One piece of information I should give to you, especially on coexistential living or philosophy or Jivan Vidya or CVMS, that is consciousness, Mulya Shiksha, उसी पे 24th November we are having a specifically one सम्मेलन. Somebody or anybody from this group or your friends or some experts wants to give their thoughts, we always welcome regarding especially on this astitva hi sa astitva hai. That is one piece of information I want to give it to you. Now 2 questions. Anybody from this side and 1 question from this side.
So this question is to Dr. Evan. You very nicely concluded that it is not the internet that we should focus on, it is the inner net, right? So my question to you as well as Dr. Jain as well, should we, certainly the way we are discussing these things, that the change should come from within and we have to adapt individual as an individual. But in a society where the heterogeneous population, people with different mindset, different religious and social and technical biases, we cannot expect everyone to adapt to what we are. We are all kind of, we belong to the same, preaching to the core at the moment, so to say. So should we enforce these changes on people, or what should be the model? Or should we leave it to the people to adapt to these changes? Certainly that's what our ultimate goal. Hope is that everybody will be changing within themselves and then adapt to what we are proposing. But that's not realistic expectation. So in that case, should we enforce? For the example, somebody pointed out that in Singapore, people would be, in the middle of the night, they will be stopping and will not go. So if that is presumably because it is being enforced, part of it. Over time, that change may happen. So I'm just curious to know your thoughts on whether these changes that we are talking about, that should come from within, if people don't adapt to it, how do we enforce it? Or should we enforce it? Or how do we go about it?
Thank you very much. I think, first of all, we have to be patient. So it's not a matter of rushing. And everyone in their lives, we all have different stages of different levels of consciousness. So even we are delivering this type of messages, not everyone is going to understand. So it's not even a matter of forcing anything, but being consistent in living the values you are preaching in order to make your dissemination credible and honest. So it's not a matter of enforcing, it is a matter of believing that what you are living within yourself is going to have an impact on someone, who is ready to listen to you and understand to you. And it's not even a matter of rationally thinking or believing that, okay, I've read something, I understood, I put it in the, okay, I forget it. It is more a matter of understanding, incorporating, embedding, living what you're. So in my case, I've been working for some years in international cooperation, and of course, we felt like we were putting a lot of effort in trying to help people, but at the end of the day, we realized that most of the aid we were putting on the field was not flourishing. And from a cynic point of view, I was fed up with that, saying, okay, I stop. But one friend of mine told me, keep on going. Someone is going to be benefiting from this. So it's a matter of patience, it's a matter of consistency, it's a matter of, okay, whoever is ready to understand and to practice this, welcome. It might happen now, it might happen in the future. Everything has its own space. So, but we have the responsibility of trying to transmit this convergence, this consistency between what you preach and what you, the way you behave at the end of the day. So, thank you.
Excellent. As Dr. Evan has rightly said, I think it's a mix of both. But when we say enforcement, it normally we feel that it is coming with a stick or punishment. Enforcement also comes with love, compassion, affection. We enforce a few things on our kids, but out of love. So in true sense, normally the word which is understood enforcement, we are not talking of that enforcement. And most important part is that are we living with those principles ourselves or not? So there are two systems. One is the elder people, those who will be doing it out of education, out of importance of those principles, and the kids through education and through culture and some amount of, acknowledging and telling them and making them aware why it is required. And some amount of enforcement with that will be there. That's how any society, that's how the new things come up. That's what I feel. Thank you. Thank you so much.
One more question. Please.
Good afternoon, everybody. My one simple question to the all panelists is, we are really doing very great tasks, and I think that it is a combination of Gurukul and university now. But one more thing is there. What is the progress on geopolitical system? Do you have any answer about it? How we can stop this mad rush of the opportunist politicians? We need some upgradation in the system also. Do you have an answer for this solution, this problem, this challenge that we are facing through opportunist politicians world over?
Thank you. I see that you are very interested in the geopolitical situation and how to prevent a worse situation. I've been working in diplomacy for some years with these diplomats and doing some research on political entrepreneurs, political opportunists. I'm not very optimistic about how can we change that. Because the motivations for doing politics are different. They respond more to extrinsic kind of motivation, but they're not servants. They want to serve their interests. And therefore, it's very difficult to match with this type of three motivations: extrinsic motivation, intrinsic motivation, transcendental motivation. They are very good at mobilizing public resources by creating a narrative which moves around the principles of, or the motivations which are transcendental and intrinsic, but they are leaving the extrinsic motivation. So in the short term, they are very good at mobilizing or creating this narrative with a certain success, but then they cannot maintain that because they are not living what they are preaching. And what happens at the end of the day, within the medium and short and long term, all those promises, all those narratives are collapsing because they cannot be maintained. So there is a lot of disaffection, and there is a great cleavage between how society is performing or losing faith in politicians and how the politicians vis-a-vis are trying to maintain these spheres of influence. So there is a great cleavage, a great divide between society and politicians. Of course there are politicians, or I wouldn't call them politicians, but activists, which are a different kind of attitude and impulse to change things. And that goes sometimes, and we saw yesterday, against some of the root established kind of policy making principles. So I think that within this situation, within this climate, we have to acknowledge the big difficulty. And when I'm teaching this to my students in geopolitics and in global trends, I explain them how we came to this mess. And they say, okay, but there is not a hope for this. Is there any good news? Yes, there is very good news. You can make a difference.
The chairperson, Dr. Anger, has permitted one more question from the students.
Just to reflect on this. No, it's okay. I mean, the good news is, as Dr. Evan has also said, there's a huge possibility, because what is opportunistic? So, if there are opportunities, and opportunities could be other way around. You know, we have seen great leaders like Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, Sardar Patel. So there are opportunities on the other front. Actually, sometimes I feel that other front, you know, to be on humanistic side, the field is wide open. Yeah, exactly. There is no competition there at all. And so if we can create that awareness and we start demanding, you know, then there would be leaders, those who will be available for fulfilling that. And the good news is that all over the world, that tenure lasts only 4 to 5 years. So there's always good opportunities for people to come up. Yeah, please.
I don't want to stand between you and your lunch, and with the permission of Professor Acharya, who is manager or owner of the session, I'm tempted to share that, you know, education is transformative, instrument of transformation, as Dr. Mehta said, and Atmiya University is also trying to do, and most of educators across the country with good intentions are trying to do. So it needs to be embedded. Values need to be embedded right from childhood, from a school education to college education. Not that you have to come and pass a course on ethics by adopting unethical means at college level. We see it's rampant, you know. Colleges have to introduce, you know, plaque check and all sorts of, you know, softwares to check the reports of students. How are they doing? Why are they doing? So the thing is that this is what education, and India, you know, is a country where 65% of the population is below the age of 35. So we have an opportunity. We have demographic dividend, and we shouldn't lose the hope. I think we can take the way forward. Thank you.
Mike, please.
I'll reintroduce myself. Good afternoon, everyone. I have a question for all the panels here. It's not my background again. Sorry, it's on a technology part. Since Dr. Sharma has mentioned about artificial intelligence being on a global market right now, and being discussed on the World Economic Forum, which happens in Switzerland every year. What a coincidence, Dr. Ivan. So with the technology going in advanced and artificial intelligence taking over, I think it will affect not only industry or corporate, but it also affecting up to a certain level to the academic level. So if it's being discussed at the World Economic Forum, what are the measurement steps that countries are making, maybe not particularly for the India, but other countries in respective orders, what are they doing about it? Because artificial intelligence definitely taking over the labor force away from each country's economic or financial level.
Education, thank you for your question. It's a very, very insightful and very, very penetrating question. World Economic Forum report that I cited is 2023, meant for 2023 to 27, right? So these are the trends which are being predicted. Now, education is a national subject. School education is a state subject. in our country. In other countries, they have got different systems of education. For example, I was in Germany. Germany has got education commission, In Canada, there is a different system where they have to be trained, school teachers have to be trained every 2 years and so on. So every country has got a different education system. Now the question is that the government has to come up with a policy which does not allow technology or artificial intelligence to take over. For example, in my institute, this institute I'm not trying to brag about, but we are very strong in IT and AI and things of this kind. And we are using all these advanced technologies that I talked about in all our curriculum, in every course, even in courses like OB, HR and things like we are using that. But there's a limit. There's a percentage. There's a credit limit. So people need to know what is happening around. They should be able to cater to the requirements of the industry when they join the industry. But it's not that you remove the teacher and get the entire course taught by that, and then flip learning, and there are many other teaching methodologies and pedagogies are available. Thank you.
Now I request Dr. Iyengar to conclude the session.
It was a very short comment on this. At our university, we have one of the top 10 research institutes on artificial intelligence in Switzerland, the Le Mole Institute of Artificial Intelligence. And one of the founders of this institute the other day published in a newspaper, let's stop calling it artificial intelligence, let's call it advanced informatics. So for me, it changed the meaning of the instrument. It was like, this is for my service, not I'm at the service of this artificial intelligence. It was just a shift of the name, but for me, it changed the perception. And this is one of the most reputable researchers on artificial intelligence. There is another researcher from that group who was speaking about artificial intelligence and how ready we are as society, as individuals, to tackle with that. And I thought when I was listening to his presentation that it's okay, of course the society is ready for embracing this. And he said, it's not. And I was like shocked. One of the most reputable researchers on artificial intelligence in the world said, the society is not ready for this technology. Because of the reasons why we have been exposing now our difficulties to manage ourselves in premise. So what is the first thing that we do, or how do we manage technology today? This thing here. Are we using this, or are we being used by this? How many hours do we spend on this device? What's the first thing we do in the morning when we open up our eyes? Scrolling. What's the first thing we do when the airplane lands? Switching it on. There is a small, simple thing, and we are not talking about here governmental policies. I'm talking about family policies and individual policies. How do you regulate yourself vis-a-vis the use of technology? There is a very interesting thing, and this comes to, we are talking about institutions and how institutions have to make an impact, how families, how individuals can make an impact. There is a nice design of a kid asking to your father, their father is like scrolling the phone, but please listen to me. No, I'm listening to you. No, listen to me with your eyes. So we are losing all that. Right, so it's a matter of how can we conciliate all these things. First of all, how we conciliate our human nature, and then the use of technology that we can make.
Thank you, esteemed panel members. Thanks, Acharya ji, for managing the entire wonderful session. We had a panel discussion, similar type plenary. I talked about from the industry angle how the business should be. And is there any businessmen here, practicing business leaders? Anyone from the business leaders? Any business leaders? Surprising. No one. Probably I request next time when you have a panel, we'll have a balancing of business people. Real challenges. Because immediate, whatever you want to do, any businesses, immediate reaction in the costing perspective and survival basis. If you could able to talk from that, the triple planet, people, planet, profit, if you have a good purpose, there is an impact of everything. Because from that angle, we started with the discussion, and thanks to Professor Ivan talked about individual perspective. If you could able to survive on individual, probably we can able to leverage it. Then take care of yourself. That's what the entire discussion about Ivan talks about. When I talk about Ajay Jain ji, he could able to talk about the societal angle, how we want to make impact to the society. In continuous, fortunately, we had academic people, two people join hands together, like Devan Vyas ji talked about how Atmiya is talking about educational changes, how we can able to bring impact on the coexistence, which was supported by Radha ma'am. So we had a wonderful panel discussion today, and all the PPTs are available. Those who have any doubts, you can refer the slides further. And I thank Atmiya for organizing a wonderful event. And this topic makes relevant because business evolves. These are all the ongoing topics. The one great thing about the business management, whatever we say today, tomorrow we'll say wrong. I still remember, I give layman example, I still remember, I am from Chennai background, there are many people are here. I still remember if you go to any restaurant in South, we ask for coffee, they will give hot coffee. मतलब गरम देना उसका काम है, फिर मद्रासी लोग क्या करते हैं, गरम कॉफी लेके ठंडा करके पीते हैं. मतलब ठंडा करना हमारा काम है, गरम देना आपका काम है. Coffee is to be served hot, that comes from oven or gas stove. But unfortunately today coffees are coming from fridge, says that cold coffee. I don't know which is right or wrong. So don't come to the conclusion. I still remember, again, tea is coming from fridge, called iced tea. Ice cream is coming from oven, saying that brownie. But, right? And in fact, the other inconvenient truth, if you go to Google and type it, I always say, right? If you go to Google and type it, no, rigged jeans. You know, rigged jeans? Except jeans, everything, the zip, everything torn. Which is not possible today. But we are not questioning which is right or wrong. Please understand that. As a management, what we talk about change remain constant. And whatever we talk about the thing, whatever we say yesterday wrong, today we say right. And please remember, whatever today you said right, tomorrow it will become wrong. So we have to stay for today for tomorrow's perspective. You must be experienced, the students, right? How many students can you raise your hands? You ask yourself how the COVID education lockdown made you to become graduates, right? Right? Invigilation, exams, nothing wrong. We stay for today's ourselves. But one thing remain constant. If we don't take care of planet, the planet won't take care of us. What you give, that gives back. That you can see the history, right? In fact, if you read the history past 50 years, how the global reaction, global warming happening, and make it system lively. And everybody talk about ChatGPT, impact, generative pre-trained transformer, change the world. And they got within 5 days highest number of acquisition of the customer. These are all amazing. I'm not denying it. Metaverse. Every school should teach metaverse, artificial intelligence. Please understand, artificial intelligence doesn't give originality. Unless until people like us, academicians, should create a content. If we create a content, AI will bring all 10 together. But who will create all the 10? That originality should come from us. Same thing, metaverse, fantastic. Bring metaverse for classroom teaching, AI. I still remember when I went to one school, I don't want to name the school, they used to bring metaverse to teach the school young small kids, you know. And they said, you know, sir, we used to bring how lemon grows, how apple grows. We literally brought them how lemon looks, how it grows. And they spend crores of rupees to bring it to the classroom. I will bring 50 paise lemon, I'll bring it to them. My only request, make simple, education is a simple. In fact, I request you to read Adi Shankaracharya. I was sharing to both the faculty during discussion, what are the types of teacher, which was explained by Adi Shankaracharya. What are the type of students, who's Acharya, who's Ubhatya. You can go to the explanation. In Indian system, we have multiple people. Dronacharya, then we have a guru, they have Vishwa Guru. So please read we have everything in our DNA. My only request, instead of inventing something new, try to reinvent ourselves. I hope you will get the best answer. Once again, I thank Atmiya for giving a fantastic opportunity for the wonderful session. Thanks a lot. Thanks panel, esteemed panel, for the wonderful cooperation.
So anybody wants to visit Chetna Vikas Mulya Shiksha Cell, there are 10 professors are working on this area last 10 years. So if somebody wants to more information in detail, they can visit the cell. Okay, at the end, I am very thankful on behalf of the Atma University, all the panel member. Now I request our beloved Vice Chancellor, sir, Dr. Tripathi, sir, to present a memento to our session chair, Dr. Srinivas Iyengar. आपको ढूंढते देखा है मुझे.
Thank you so much for wonderful contribution.
Now I request Dr. Samir Vaidya to present a memento to keynote speaker, Dr. Ivan Ureta. Now I request Sri Kishore Bhai Mavadia to present a memento to Sri Ajay Jain sir. Now I request our chairpersons, Dr. Srinivasan sir, to present a memento to Divyang Vyas sir. Now I request Dr. Radha Sharma ji. आइए. Let us have one group photo. VC sir, please.